So in types of error, we have the first type as absolute error. What is the meaning of absolute error? So what do we do when we have to find absolute error? We just take the sum of all the observations. Okay, so we'll just take the mean values. Let's say if A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5 are 5 observations, and you are finding the mean of them. Okay, I'm just taking 5 observations so that you'll get a real understanding what we are actually doing. I'll just take the mean of these observations, that will be sum of all divided by 5. Okay, now with respect to mean, I will see that how much is A1 deviated. So that I will call it as delta A1. Delta A1 is the deviation of that value with respect to mean. Similarly, delta A2 will be deviation of that A2 with respect to mean. So likewise, we can find delta A3, delta A4, delta A5, and so on. Okay, like that we can find all of them. Now, when we find the mean of these errors, delta A1 plus delta A2 and so on, divided by number of observations, this is called as mean absolute error or absolute error. Okay, once again I repeat the process what I said. We have few observations, we'll take the mean of them, and then we'll find the deviation of all the observation with respect to the mean. And these deviations, delta A1, delta A2, delta A3 and so on, will take the mean of those deviations. And that is called as delta A, and delta A is called as absolute error. So we don't have to follow the whole rigorous process for calculating everything, but it's just that you should know what is the meaning of absolute error. So whenever we write down any quantity, let's say if a quantity is written as A, so it will have A plus minus delta A as two values, where this A is the calculated value, or you can also call it as observed value, measured value. Okay, we can say observed value, that will be better, and delta A will be the error.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so this is a general way to write down any quantity where A stands for a value and delta A stands for error, or we can also call it as absolute error. Then comes the next, which is called as relative or fractional error. We have seen in Hooke's law delta L by L, that stress strain relationship. Over there we have seen that delta L by L, strain value. Delta L by L is actually, it is obtained from here only. Okay, so relative or fractional error, what do we mean by that? So we know that mean absolute value is delta A. Okay, and if you divide that delta A over A, then this is called as relative or fractional error. Just try to recall that delta L by L. Delta L by L was strain. It was change in length over original length. So this is called as relative or fractional error. If this fractional error is multiplied by 100, if delta A over A is multiplied by 100, then it will give me a certain percentage. Okay, it will give me a certain percentage, and that is called as percentage error. There was a question earlier where we just had to multiply the strain by 100 to get the net change, the net percentage change. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the percentage error which we were discussing over there. Okay, so these are the two basic types of errors. One is the absolute error, the other one is relative or fractional error. How we have to use them in questions, that you will understand gradually when you will solve more and more questions. But basic is this only, that when we say relative error, it will be delta A by A. And when we are saying absolute error, so it will be, first we'll find the mean, then we'll find the deviation, and then the mean of those deviation. So that's why sometimes it is often referred to as mean absolute error. Okay, but more than this name, they call it as absolute error only. So from there, we came to this, that any general quantity can be written as A plus minus delta A. And this is how we are going to use the value of quantities in operations. Like when we have to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So this will be the basis.